We're live. Welcome everybody to another edition of Friday Fish Facts. I'm your host, Ron DeSantis. Now, before we get into it, the mustache is part of a Halloween costume. So,
coming in nice.
Just bear with me. It's not permanent. I appreciate that. So when I started doing back into the aquarium hobby, I was chatting with Terry Lindsay, everybody here. He's my first in-studio, I guess you would say, guest.
Yeah.
We've done a few through Google Streams and the Google Hangout, and now we are doing our first
in-house,
and I'm super happy. I'm excited for this one.
Well, if you remember, we actually did one, a brief one, in my office at work. Ron and I worked together, when you were first starting this or thinking of getting into it,
not a live stream.
No, not a live stream, but we did a video. So this is sort of round.
It's not on the channel. It was just for this Facebook group that we're in.
Right.
So I got back into the hobby, and it was my son Ben who really wanted fish, so I got into it. I was working with Terry, and I said, Terry, you know what, I got some fish, and that's kind of how we figured out that both of us were into fish.
Yeah.
Terry, he didn't have any fish at the time.
No.
Because he'd been out of the hobby.
Yeah.
But I was just kind of getting into it. Started off with a betta and a frog, and it's grown from there. And since then, Terry's got into it.
Yeah, we got a couple tanks in my office, which you probably saw.
Yeah, it's on the thumbnail there in Terry's office.
Yeah, it's a hobby that once it gets a hold of you, it never leaves. You can get out of it, but you never really get out of it. And I'm sure there's lots of people that are watching tonight that probably have tanks that are empty and will someday get started up again, or that you've given them away, and at some point you'll get back into this new tank syndrome again, and you're going to actually buy more tanks and more tanks. And we were talking about that just prior to going to air tonight. It's just one of those things, you can't stop at one. It's like eating potato chips. It's just impossible to just have one. And that's what I love about the hobby, is it allows us to bring the world into our homes. And I've always loved that.
So Terry and I have started going to the fish auctions together.
Right.
Actually, our auction's in 3 weeks.
That's right.
Just excited for that. So we'll just go through the chat here quick, and we're gonna say some quick hellos to some people that are in here, and then we're gonna get into a little bit of Terry Lindsay's fish keeping journey. So we've got K-Town Reefer in the house. K-Town, that's Kelowna.
Yes.
In case you're wondering. Terry is in the house.
I know Katie.
Dr. Shasimi, or Dr. S, is in the house. JQ Channel Joe, hello, how are you? Mahi Plecos, come on man. What's up, Poopy Butt? It's unacceptable, this guy's a moderator too.
A poopy butt?
Poopy Butt.
Wow.
If you wouldn't mind throwing a mute on
I'm going to turn it down, yeah.
So,
Poopy Butt. I used to call my nephew, who's now about 27 years old, Poopy Butt.
So Mahi Plecos, Terry, is the guy who has got the L183, L182 Super Reds down that could ship them up.
Yeah, my sister lives in a border town on the United States side, so at some point it's inevitable that we're going to test out your shipping methods and bring some more plecos into Ron's tanks, and I think I want to start getting into them. That's one of the fish that I really never kept. I've been doing this for over 50 years, and they just weren't available. I was telling a story at dinner again tonight about just a common brown pleco that I bought. It was about 1.5 inches when I got it. It was probably 5 or 6 years old when my son was born, and by this time it was over 1 foot long, and it was making an absolute mess out of a 77-gallon tank. I guess close to maybe a 75-gallon for you guys in the US. And we finally had to get rid of it. It broke a heater. It would tear up the plants. It was a mess. And so we took it in. It was, at this point, affectionately known as Charlie, and it was probably, as I say, over 1 foot long. And I think I got a $5 store credit for it. It was sad to see it go, but it was one of those things that just had to. It was, as I say, destroying the tank, and it just was, it had overgrown the tank.
Aqua Aquafunk is wondering, Ron, you got a little something on your lip. That is my male bristlenose impersonation.
That's your aquafungus.
Aquafungus, yeah. Aquafunk is not a fan of the male bristlenose, and they freak him out.
Yeah. It's actually
I was
coming
wondering
pretty
how
nicely.
many plecos do you have? Very important question.
I have, what do we got there? 2.
4, I think.
Is there 4?
Isn't there 4?
I think there's only 2,
Yeah.
and
Is
they're
there
both
2?
male.
Both
Or
female,
female, right? Both
yeah.
female.
They're the
And they've grown,
bristlenose.
again, they're fairly sizable now. That tank's been going, or the one they're in is a 20 long.
He's also starting a USA chant because I asked Jeff Rowe earlier today about shipping to Canada, and he said, Mahai said, everyone hates Canada. How do you feel about that? Yeah.
Wow.
Bold statement for someone who lives in Denver.
Wow. Well, come
Yeah.
over here. I'll big shot you.
Dawson Vlogs is here. Aquarismo is here. And Dawson Vlogs is saying that he is getting a Tiger Barb tank. And Ben had a pure Tiger Barb tank for a while. But he kind of got sick of not being able to put stuff with it, so we've moved them into here. But you gotta really be committed to.
Yeah, it's almost a species only tank. When you get into tiger barbs, they can be a nasty fish. Again, along the way, 50 years plus, as I was mentioning earlier, I didn't know what I should be keeping with what. I had, live bears, predominantly guppies with tiger barbs, and all of a sudden you have guppies who can't swim because they have no tails. Their finnage has been ripped apart. They're probably as close to getting piranhas as you can in a fish that's about 2 inches maximum length.
Yeah. We've got Jason Fish Tropic is here. Hello, Jason. Your thoughts on lamp-eyed killifish? Killifish are nice.
I bred them. They're beautiful. The aquarium club that we're referencing that's having their auction here in a few weeks. There are 2 gentlemen that have been there. I've been going to that auction probably
the
for
Gardner Eye.
Yes. He has bred probably, I'm going to just throw it out there, probably 80% of all the killies that are available. And again, you have to reference that, as Ron has mentioned on several of his live streams. Unfortunately, our market doesn't get the variety of fish and the variety of species that some of you folks have in the major markets in the United States. It's very difficult to get good quality stock. And again, I've told this to Ron the first time he went to an auction. When you go, you're going to see things that you can't find in a pet store. You'll see things that are now acclimatized to our water conditions, and they're much hardier. And so best thing is to, unfortunately there's only one now, they used to have one in the spring. Wait when you can and buy your livestock at these shows or these auctions. As Ron has said, the prices are fantastic.
Fantastic.
The quality of the fish are beyond what we can typically find, and the variety. People that are true hobbyists are breeding many strains of fish that we can't find. Closest place you can go to get this type of quality is Aquarium Co-op down in the Seattle area, or the Wet Spot down in Portland. That's where we have to go. And Vancouver is a major market, so you do know better to go to Toronto, which is 5 miles away or 5 hours away by jet, so it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah. I'm just going to go into a quick hello with some folks that are in the stream here, and then I want to get into Terry's story here. And Terry, we might need you to speak up a little bit louder. Just some folks are saying.
Okay.
But we have got CM Media who's suggesting this program could be called Coffee with an Aquarium. Got our mugs out.
Coffee talk.
Coffee talk. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll pick a topic. Rhode Island. Neither a road nor island. Discuss.
That's right.
Bob Steamfod is in the house. Hello, Bob. How are you today? Brittany's Arachnids is hello. Hello, here. Hello, Brittany. Okay, so. Oh, wow. We've missed a bunch. I'm way behind.
Can I say something about Bob Steamfod?
Fish. One more. Hello, I got to say. Fish Keeping Jamaica. Hello, and we will try to keep our voices up for this one. And go ahead, Terry.
Well, I made comment on Bob's channel. I think it was on his Facebook page. He did something. He shared a video of it. He reached out to a young man, and That is one
The
of the
football
finest.
player.
Yes. Bob, if you're still there, that is absolutely one of the most fantastic things I've seen. I met Bob at an event that the Aquarium Co-op put on last winter.
Very low volume.
Very impressive man, very giving, and then he went and did this. And it's, as I say, one of the most incredible things is generosity. So I'm not wearing a hat, but if I was, I'd have it off in salute to you, Bob. I thought that was fantastic. I've noticed a few other people, because I do watch some of these channels. I've noticed others doing the same thing. So you've started something that's fantastic.
So Terry was how old when you started? When you got?
I think I got my first fish, which, like probably everybody else, was a goldfish.
How old were you?
I was about 5.
So you've been fish keeping for
I'm
50 years.
56 now, so 51 years.
So first was goldfish.
Yeah, it was a goldfish, and it came in a classic little bowl that you know, you might have a nice shot of brandy out of. I had to throw a ping pong ball into it to get it, and so we immediately went from this little local fair over to an aquarium store, or pet store as they were known back in the day, and we bought a bigger bowl. And of course from there came my first aquariums, which are little 5.5, 5-gallon tanks.
Work on the volume.
Stainless steel, rimmed. So maybe there's people out there who remember that, but most of you wouldn't. But that's what the first few tanks I had were. And like anybody else, you buy live bears. I had tetras and live bears, and all of a sudden they had babies. So, oh my God, we don't want to see them all eaten, so you buy another one, and there's your new tank syndrome. You know,
So how old were you when you started selling guppies to fish stores?
By that time, I was probably about 12, grade 6.
And you were talking earlier tonight when we were having dinner about the type of guppies that you were getting, that they're not like today.
No, God,
the information
they
was
were
not like today.
common guppies that you know, kind of look like the endlers of today, but not with those color patterns. And I can remember the first time I saw fancy guppies, which by today's standards are terrible. I had to have them, and I had 4 tanks on an old table that my dad had brought from his work. I had 4 10-gallon tanks, and I started breeding these things. And of course, we used things like some of your floating plants so that the babies had a chance. And then I would take them out, or take the parents out. And I was getting about 25 cents a fish at one of my local pet stores. And that was allowing me to have live food for my fish, supplies, food of various sorts, and also buying other livestock. And I mention this, and I'm sure there's lots out there that know of the magazine, but nowadays it's electronic. I think it has stopped being published as a hard copy. Tropical Fish Hobbyist. When I was in grade 6, we moved to a new home, and the library in the school that I then went to was much more well stocked with various magazines and books. And I would go in there at lunchtime, especially in the winter months, and I would love to read the latest edition of Tropical Fish Hobbyist, and it would show me things that, again, as we just mentioned earlier, weren't available in our local fish stores. And I'd dream. And we didn't have Facebook. We didn't have YouTube. We had no way of doing anything but imagine what might be. And I can remember seeing the first pair of albino zebra cichlids, Mabuna. Mm-hmm. And I thought, wow, this is fantastic. And in the article that was featuring this, the fellow that owned the fish was being featured in the magazine, and he was stripping the eggs with a toothpick out of the females so that the females could produce more eggs faster. So lo and behold, I got a pair of Mabuna. They were red zebras, and lo and behold, one morning, the female's jaw was square, and I knew that she had eggs in her. So I went back and I read this magazine in the library, and I found the article, and it told me what I needed. I needed to have a glass jar. So my mom worked in a restaurant in a variety store. And she got me a 1-gallon glass jar, an old pickle jar. And so we washed it out real well. And I took this zebra and I stripped the eggs, and they fell into the water that I put into the jar. And I had an air stone in there, and I put some bromothal blue in there. And sure enough, 4 days later, these things hatched, and they were wigglers. And I just love the fact that I could interact with this hobby in such a way. This husbandry, as I was mentioning earlier, it just fascinated me. And so fish that Ron say has in this tank, like your rainbow fish. I've bred several types of rainbow fish along the way. Just anything that I got, I tried to take it.
You bred bettas?
Siamese fighting fish, dwarf gouramis, which were a really high-end thing at the time.
Yeah.
I bred those, and they're very interesting how you have to seal the tank because they're developing their labyrinth organs, which are critical to their survival. So I just tried to do the best I could to raise these fish. Again, I know Bob's on the stream. I would like to get some of your Cyprichromis. Those things seem fantastic to me. Years ago, unbeknownst to me, because again, information wasn't forthcoming, I had these Lamprolabius brichardi, and I just thought they were beautiful. And all of a sudden, we were moving from one home to another, and I was taking the tank down, and there was like 25 babies that I never knew were in the tank of various stages, because they raise, the entire tank raises the fry. They don't cannibalize the fry. And it was fantastic to me, and so I think the Cyprichromis are very similar in that regard, but they're absolutely stunning fish. But we can't find those here.
No.
I'd love to get some from you because I'd like to try that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. We're going to jump back into the chat here because we've got quite a few folks in here right now. I appreciate Aquafunk for giving a shout out to get people to smash that like button. Just so everyone knows, Aquafunk has never done his own live stream, but this Thursday at 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 o'clock Pacific Time will be Aquafunk's first live stream. I hope everyone here joins me in visiting Aquafunk. That guy's a very funny man, very knowledgeable man, and I'm definitely going to be there, so I hope everyone else is. Pam is here, 54 Punchy. She's 63. She bought her first tank 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Stainless steel rim on it.
Right on, Pam.
Friday Fish Facts is 60, says Fish Keeping Jamaica. Well, mustache does make me look a little bit older. Jan Blue, hello. Right now she's at work. Greetings from Japan. Have a nice time.
Ah, very good.
Oliver, I know he's in Florida. He said try some headphones that work for him for the sound problem. Mob Guppy is here. Hello. Aquafunk has got a question here. He says, Terry, how do you feel about people saying that you need all of this high-tech equipment to do the same things they were doing 40 years ago without it?
Well, it probably makes it easier, to be honest. But you don't need it in all cases. Sometimes you do. I'll tell you a quick story. I was breeding dwarf cichlids, Epistogramma. And I also had some of these SAEs in there.
Siamese alligator.
Yes, and they had become like small torpedoes. They were beautiful. And I was having quite a bit of success with certain strains of the Epistogramma. But as anybody has tried raising them or breeding them, some of them become quite difficult, and water chemistry is everything. So I've told this to Ron, I bought a brand new garbage can, like a 50-gallon garbage can, and I developed a tea. I basically used a laundry bag and put peat in there, and it would, like a tea bag, seep out into the water, and that was the type of water chemistry that we required. Some people might use rainwater that has low pH. Certain areas you can get away with that. So I was creating this stuff, and I still couldn't get it down as low as I needed it to be. So I went to the local pet store, and they said, well, use this pH down, which I never monkeyed with when you've got just general community type fish. anyways, I should have used a measuring spoon or a device of some sort, and I just was shaking it in. And like anything granular, it gets a little bit of moisture in there, and all of a sudden a blob of this thing, it was about the size of an egg, went into the tank. Well, I couldn't get the water out of there fast enough, and I watched about $800, maybe more, worth of fish basically disintegrate. So nowadays you can use CO2 injection if you're going to have a tank that's got plants in it, and that will help drop down the pH level. There are things you can do that you couldn't do. Even hang on back filters where you can put, again, some cartridges in there of peat, again using some of the bags that are available locally or in the trade, and that'll drop it down even further. But the hang on back filters were very crude when I first started. In fact, when I first started, there was nothing like that. You had the little box filter in the corner.
And then they had that plastic under gravel one.
Under gravel filters, like yeah, which were good.
That's what they first had when I was a kid.
That's right.
Before the hang on back.
But again, you had to completely break your tank down to clean them.
Yeah.
Which is a complete mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's technology that does help us for sure.
Beard Aquatics, hello. Thank you for stopping in today. Fish Keeping Jamaica's wondering if that's rum in my cup. Terry's not much of a drinker.
No.
These days, so we had fajitas, we had water, and we had coffee.
Although I could have had some Courvoisier or some
could have had whatever you wanted.
in my tea.
We like.
I wasn't offered. Very poor host.
We like to drink on this show, but when in Rome.
That's right.
Rob93 is in the house. Hello, Rob93. Thank you for stopping in. Thank you for throwing out the drop the like button. And thank you, Mob Guppy, for suggesting people to share and like this video. Fish Keeping says Rob loves liquor in bottle. That's right, he does. And he's got a sippy cup that is at Aquafunk's house right now, because I see Aquafunk drinking out of Rob's sippy cup.
He drinks out of a sippy cup.
Yeah. Maha is wondering if...
Does he have a diaper too?
Yeah, I don't know.
Are you wearing diapers?
We haven't got into that. My High Plecos is wondering if you've got a YouTube channel.
No, I don't.
My High Plecos doesn't either, really. There's Ashley.
No, I don't. I'm a, what do you call it, a creeper?
Yeah.
I watch everybody else's stuff.
Actually, the first live stream I ever went on, like Terry was way before I started a channel, was saying like, you should check out Steamfot was the first.
Yeah, I really like what he does. Obviously, Aquarium Co-op.
Those are the first two I started watching.
Yeah,
Terry recommended them.
Yeah, there's a lot of good content out there, and there's guys that are doing a fantastic job. Like I say, they're getting the message out. I love the fact, and I did say this to Corey at Aquarium Co-op way back. I love the fact there's a gentleman here locally. I know him only as Flynn. And Brendan, is that his name?
Flynn's Fish Forum.
He being Corey, did a wonderful job of bringing him into the hobby and encouraging him. He's been down to Corey's shop in the state of Washington several times. He's matured. You see the quality of the videos that Flynn's putting out there now, Brendan's putting out there. They're 10 times better when he started. And I'm proud because that is the legacy that we all need to be conscious of. For the last 25 or 30 years, I've given people their start in the aquarium hobby. I've encouraged people to buy that first tank. I used to have 20 tanks in my home, and all of them had plants in them, an abundance of plants.
And we share stuff too. Like, I have like cherry shrimp breeding and give some to Terry, or my mollies. Terry gives me his plants, the Easy Green fertilizer that he's got. We share back and forth. It's a great thing to add to it.
Well, that's what I love about the hobby. And again, if you get involved in your local societies, your local clubs, there are a lot of people that are very benevolent of their time, their knowledge, and of their inventory. If you go to the monthly meetings rather than the auctions, a lot of times they'll just give it to you.
Yeah.
They'll say, here.
Yeah.
If you show you're uniquely interested in something, they'll just give them to you.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I love about this hobby, is that there's such a connection and a generosity that I've never seen in really anything else I've ever gotten involved in. I just love it.
Otto Creek Aquatics is in the house. Hello. I've seen Otto. Otter Creek on lately, bouncing around the live streams. What's going on, man?
I got a question.
Yeah.
So we all start out with 5 and 10 gallon tanks.
Okay.
Maybe not you. Maybe
I started with a
20.
10.
10. Okay. So, what was the size of your very first big tank? What did you think was a big tank? Because these weren't available then.
My first big tank was a 25 gallon. I had to save my money for a while to be able to get that. And with that, I bought my first hang-on back filter too.
Yeah, I had a 33 gallon tank.
Oh yeah.
The store that my mom worked at, they had this thing, and they only had one of them, and it was after Christmas, and they wanted to get rid of it because it didn't sell. And so I got this 33 gallon, which again is an oddball size, and that allowed me to get into South American fish. You know, back then it was the convict cichlids, which now when we go to the auction, we laugh because nobody wants them. They basically have to pay you to take them away.
I know, they're not.
You know, pink and the striped convicts.
Even a lot of angelfish are like $2 at the auction.
Yeah, they're cheap because they have large breeds.
I think they're easier to breed. Yeah.
You know, unless you're into the super reds and the things that we're now seeing as some of the strains that are new or newer. The standard silver and black angelfish are a dime a dozen.
I just want to share one comment here from Fish Keeping Jamaica.
Yeah.
Finally a pretty lady. I'm guessing when Ashley walked in the room.
Well, because
Appreciate that. I'll let her know you said that.
It was me. That got weird.
He also says, love the look of your fish space. Awesome. I'm just loving the unity in the community. Yeah, just like we were talking about.
Yeah.
JQ channel, I appreciate the shout out and all the support. Max Fish Room, hello, how are you today? My High Plecos has got a question. What's Terry's dream pleco?
Wow. I actually don't know that I have one because I'm an infant when it comes to plecos. I honestly, they never were around, and I'm kind of circling back on the hobby again now. I was out of it. My kids were in their teens, and they're both very athletic, and so I was always at a hockey tournament or a lacrosse tournament or whatever. I never had time to give the hobby the time that it requires, and so I made the responsible choice to not do it for probably 5 years. And so again, plecos, they in the last 10 years have been sort of the hottest of the hot.
When I was a kid, and then the plain bristle nose.
Yeah, I mean, I had those. Like I said earlier, I had those, but now with what they've been able to pull out of the Amazon and other areas, I mean, it's just running the gamut, and I really haven't informed myself enough to say I have a favorite. I would say the ones I'd seen the most probably were the gold nugget or like a zebra. Now,
those are cool.
Now some of the stuff that Ron is interested in and shared with me, or that I've seen on channels, including Mile Highs. I mean, there's some very spectacular.
Priscilla MKR did a tour of his fish room. He's got 20-something tanks. And he's got some crazy ones.
I definitely, if this at the height of when I had 20 tanks going, I would have had tons of these in there.
Jason is also wondering when I'm going to get off my butt and get Ashley some angels. Well, Jason Aquafunk is not an Instagram person. I think he has one photo. If you saw my Instagram post yesterday, it's angelfish eggs. So we're going. Plus, we've got the auction in 3 weeks.
That's right.
Now we're going to get.
As we mentioned, that hobbyist auction will have product or livestock available that you can't find in the stores here. The type of angelfish that Ron and I now are admiring really aren't available here. And when I went down to that event back, I think it was February, Bob, you might remember, at Aquarium Co-op, I saw the super red angels that he had there, and I immediately said to Ron, you gotta get these. The sad part about it is I don't have tanks at home, so this was on a Saturday night. I wouldn't have been able to get them to Ron back if it was through the office until the Monday. They can't stay in a bag that long and expect to live. So he has since gone down there and purchased these angelfish, and I'm looking at them in this tank over just off
the 90 gallon, which is going now.
They're spectacular. They are spectacular. And again, it's responsible fish keepers or retailers like Corey at Aquarium Co-op. they do the right things. They quarantine their fish. They feed them the right fish food. It's a varied diet, and they're absolutely stunning. And that 90-gallon tank is going to look fantastic. I had a 65-gallon, same height, and I had probably half a dozen gold angels in there that didn't have the red tops on them like these do, and it had black gravel in it like Ron has, and they are absolutely stunning.
Yeah. We got a few answers to your question here.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Actually, Max Fishroom says if only freshwater shrimp were legal in NZ. I'm guessing that's New Zealand.
New Zealand. Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. I know you can't get them in Hawaii either. Aquafunk's first big
because
tank.
they'll
Yeah,
take over.
Take over if they get released.
Yeah.
Aquafunk 55 gallon. Max Fishroom 100.
Wow.
K-Town 80. Then 180. Hello, Lisa. Lisa's here. Dr. S is 29. Beards and Aquatics 75. Soon to be 700. Wow. That is impressive. I want to hear some stocking ideas on that 700.
Wow.
Jealous over here.
I saw a tank once. I can't remember the guy's name, but he had a bunch of different types of epistogrammus. And it was basically his entire living room wall. And for him to get the fish out, he had to climb a ladder to get up to the top. And he had a fish net that he had to extend with another pole on the top and back end of it to get down to where the fish were. And I don't know how many gallons that was, but at that time it was the biggest tank I'd seen. It had to be 8 feet wide and probably 7 or 8 feet high. It was the biggest thing I'd ever seen. It had been made by somebody, and I just always thought I'd hate to see if that thing let loose. You know, his house would have been a new swimming pool.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
But, you know, again, keep mentioning Corey, but his 800-gallon tank.
Well, I've never seen that in person.
No, nor have I, but it's impressive to look at, even in video. Just as an aside, was it Pam?
Hey, Petsotics. Yes, sir.
Pam that had the
54 punchy.
The stainless steel
rim
tanks. There weren't 75-gallon tanks back then. There was
Well,
I think it was about a.
Made them that.
There might have been a 100-gallon tank when I was 15 or 16 that I remember seeing, but it was very low profile. I mean, the technology, even in just building tanks, has come a long ways in terms of the design and the thickness of the glass and just how they're built. Yeah, 33s or even a 55-gallon tank wasn't available back then.
Well,
now
I remember
everywhere.
when the 90 came out because my friend got it and that was the biggest tank at the time. I just want to say hi to Cameron while he's here learning to fish keep. Cameron's a regular on the show, but he's doing a family thing tonight and he just wanted to stop in and say hi.
Thanks for visiting. And
JQ Channel has got to get ready for bed. See you later, Joe.
Thank you.
He's, I mean, when you're on the East Coast,
sure.
It's 10:30 now. Yeah, so it's getting late. So, Terry, what is next for you in the aquarium hobby? I know you're kind of in between places. You might be moving.
Yeah.
You might be staying. You're thinking maybe if you stayed, you'd set up the garage and get a racking system going.
Well, yeah, there's a number of things that I could do. I think I'm going to have to wait a little bit just to see how the dust settles. But even the two tanks we have at the office, one is a 20 long, one is a 20 high. We work in the sheet metal industry, so building racks or a stand is not a problem whatsoever. Yeah, and anyways, I'm thinking I might change it up. It's just got basic fish in there. I did it almost for a conversation starter within our office with the staff.
Terry does sales too.
There's a number of people that have actually gotten into it or are more energized about it because they'll come and talk to Ron and I. They're now watching his live streams.
We've got Sheila's got a tank, a few tanks.
Yeah.
Mike's got one since then.
That's right.
John got it set up.
That's right. Yeah. I would say there's a half a dozen people that are now energized.
Yeah.
There may even be a fellow that Ron and I had lunch with today, one of our clients that's come on board.
Yeah, he's on the stream every once in a while.
So again, I might try, and again, this is where I was referring to Bob Steamfot. I think it would be really neat to get some of the Shelleys or again, these Bichardi that I had raised in the past, because you can tell a real neat story, and they're they're not ones that hide all the time. They do hide the fry, but they were out and they're so elegant to watch. I think maybe the top tank, the 20 long, might get broken down and put some new fish into the mix there.
Bob Guppy is worried about setting up an aquarium in his office because temp changes create concerns.
That thing's set at 78 degrees. It's one of the tiny, tiny little heaters. I think they're
15 bucks.
Aquin. They're about
Yeah.
15 to 20 bucks. Is that something come up on the?
Yeah. Oh, that's okay.
Anyways, if we're still live.
Oh, it just paused. Sorry, folks. It just paused there for a second.
So these little Aquin heaters, I mean, they just set at 78. I've got a digital thermometer on the side of the tank. It's never moved from 78, ever.
Yeah.
Whether it be the summer months or through the winter months. And it's been set up since probably last December-ish. And so, yeah, it's not a problem, to be honest with you.
No, it's not. It's a
No.
heated office.
Yeah.
Rob's also saying drop a like for Ron's legit mustache. Appreciate that, Rob.
Yeah.
I know it looks weird.
It's looking good.
What I did was I grew it because I needed this thing for Halloween. Here's what's happening. I'm going to this Halloween party on Saturday, and my wife is obsessed with this show called This Is Us, which, to be honest, is my favorite show right now. So she wanted to dress up as Jack and Rebecca from This Is Us. Well, Jack has a mustache. So I grew the beard. I'm not really a beard guy, and the beard was getting itchy to
Yeah,
me.
I can't get through that 4 or 5 day growth.
So I shaved the beard and left the mustache like the old style duster.
I had one.
And so I'm going to be Jack, and that's on Saturday, so I can't wait to shave, probably Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Get this thing off. It looks ridiculous.
Maybe we should buck the sides off like they did to me.
Yeah, maybe that's...
Back when I was like 19. I looked like Hitler. Didn't know what had happened.
Oliver's wondering if Terry's got social media.
No, I don't. I'm on Facebook. You can go and find me there, Terry Lindsay.
Terry's a fan. Like, he watches live streams, and he participates a lot in my live stream, but he's on lurking on other folks.
Yeah.
And he watches the replays a lot.
I'm thrilled that there's so many people that are following these things. Again, I wish this was available to me when I was 12, 13 years old. I would have absolutely loved it. I watch Flynn and what he's doing, the things that he's been able to do in terms of going down to aquatic experience or being embraced by them, to what I call trailblazers in this new era of fish keeping, being Corey and Bob. I just think this is fantastic. I would have loved to have had that in my life, because at one point, and I didn't write it down, I have a few notes, I can remember in grade 8 how nerdy this must have been. I did a presentation in English, a public speech on breeding guppies. There might have been 2 people in the class of 30 that maybe even knew what a fucking guppy was, excuse my language, but now I think, what was I thinking? But I was so passionate about it.
Yeah.
And it was about that time I had my first job, so I started getting into some cash that I could decide where and how I spent it. And some of you guys might be Fancy Guppy fans. I actually ordered guppies from a gentleman in Ohio by the name of Stan Schubel. And they came and they were half black reds. They were absolutely gorgeous. Automatically, when I said earlier that I was getting 25 cents a fish, when I got the offspring to a sellable size, now all of a sudden I was getting 50 to 75 cents for a male. And yeah, I remember they probably cost me like $35 US then, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Fish were costing, like neon tetras were 19 cents.
Yeah.
You know, so to give you an idea of what this trio cost.
With no guarantee, probably.
No, there was, if they had not gotten there in livable condition, I wasn't getting anything back. Since then, when I've taken family holidays, I've gone and seen people. There's a gentleman now, if you go on YouTube, I think he's World Class Guppies or something like that. His name is Stephen Kortler.
Oh, Stan Schubel, Mom Guppy said, was the GOAT. He just
Yeah.
passed away.
Yes, I know that.
Did you know
Yes,
that?
I know. I did know that. Yeah. He was the stud, and this Stephen Kortler, who relocated from New Jersey up into, or New York, sorry,
Goat is
to
greatest
Florida.
of all time.
To Florida. I actually went to his home, and he showed me his entire fish room, and that was spectacular. And that guy also, he's a world-class breeder, and has done some phenomenal things in the hobby as a judge, as a breeder. And I brought fish that were half black pastels back from Florida on our flight back. That's got to be, daughter's 18, she was about a year old then, so 17 years ago.
Sean's in the house today. Sean's got crazy planted tanks.
Yes.
I think I've shown you his like Monte Carlo plant. Remember I was mentioning it?
That's right. Yeah.
Have I shown you his videos before?
No.
Well,
no,
I'll show you
not
some.
aware.
He's got a beautiful blue betta in that thing too.
I used the what they call Dutch style aquarium method. And again, for those that don't want their tanks to take up massive amounts of energy, if you get a tank that is fully stocked full of plants, those plants become like a vacuum cleaner. They keep the water in very, very good condition, and you really only have to top your tank up. You don't have to do these massive water changes. As long as the bio load is right, that is the way to go, and they are absolutely stunning. And I know that's what these folks are trying to do, is to try to build up an inventory of plants.
I've had them like the 29 where I've had that one stocked, which I could do that. These guys are nowhere near being able to do
well,
that.
Well, it needs more light.
Well, it needs more light.
If you get more light on there, it's now PARS because it's all LED lighting. Back, even 10 years ago, it was all high output lighting. It was always watts per gallon, and then were you infusing the water with CO2, injecting with nutrients, that type of stuff. But I'm telling you, when you get a fully planted tank, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A few things here. Max Fishroom was saying, what, a neon tetra that cheap? They're like $10 here. But that was like the 60s. You're talking 19 cents. Right?
I can remember when I was in about grade 6 again, so 1974.
Oh yeah, okay.
Like it was like
it
was like the
we're talking
mark
40,
now.
40 years ago.
Yeah, it was
40
plus.
40 plus.
44 years ago to be exact. Yeah, they were 19 cents, 25 cents. I remember getting swordtails for like 75 cents. And for those that are in the audience that are old enough to remember, this is when swordtails were big. And again, that's one of the things that's happened.
It's like mollies too, right? And
yeah,
green.
Green and gold self-fed mollies, black self-fed mollies. They were spectacular. Now they're not quite the same size. They're not quite the same.
Jamaica.
They're not the same quality. They don't have the hardiness that some of these they had. Some of the swordtails that I had back in the day, these green swordtails, they were coming out of Mexico. Literally, they would be about, with the tail, with the sword, probably 5 inches, 6 inches long in total.
I just want to quickly say hello, Dee, from Down the Wormhole. It's nice to have Dee, Lisa here. Just want to fill you ladies in on Mile High Plecos doing some Canadian bashing earlier, just so you guys are aware. Lisa had my back. I appreciate that. Let's get back into the chat here. Rob's Loaches says he is loving the tank. Rob's Loaches is there was a tour done by the Lucky Schmuck. He's one of the Lucky Schmuck's buddies.
Yeah.
And he went through Rob's fish room. It's pretty cool. You should check that one out.
I will.
Lucky Schmuck's channel.
Those are some of the things I like the most, is to see what guys are keeping, how they're keeping them.
Yeah. How do they do their water changes?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if I had all the money in the world, I would certainly have a massive fish room, and I would have an auto water change system to keep things pristine, but also have somewhat of balance in your life. But some of you guys that have got rooms that I envy, you've got it going on. It's impressive, and I'm sure, again, you've got some of that inspiration from watching YouTube videos and things that I just never had access to when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Wish it was different then, but it isn't. It wasn't, and now it is, and I'm envious.
Yeah. We've got Michael. That's my how Plecos.
Yeah.
He's a character, that fella. He's got his USA chance going. Rick Badman, hello.
Oh,
Thanks
that's
for
my
stopping in.
sister. How you doing, Rick? He's been under the weather lately. Had a
Rick is your sister?
No, that's my sister's husband. Did I say sister? Well, he could be my sister.
Could be.
Yeah, well, just all you need is a wig.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't been feeling 100% here as of late. So the fact that he's on this, I appreciate that. Get better soon, buddy.
Right on. So, Mile High was also wondering if you answered your question, which you did, about what your favorite pleco was, which you kind of getting into.
Like I said,
plecos.
what
You
I
didn't have
know,
a favorite,
the gold nugget, I can always remember seeing those because they've been around me as long as any other. And the zebra plecos, they're
nice.
they're nice. They are. They're
Come with
striking.
a high, hefty price tag. But
That's how they are.
Yeah.
And again, in time they won't be. You know,
once more bread.
guys that are breeding them, they'll bring the price down. The quality will go up.
Now we're kind of winding down to well, not winding down, but we're about a quarter of the way left.
Okay.
So it's time to throw out who's got some questions for Terry Lindsay. Now remember, guys, this guy grows plants like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
He uses CO2 sometimes.
I haven't had to lately
Lots of
because
less. Those plants are going out of
the
control.
plants that I've got in there now, they're not the more difficult to grow, so I don't bother with it.
But he's got a lot of experience breeding, keeping. Appreciate it. No, it's not November yet, but it's for a Halloween costume. Anyway, before throw your questions out. I'm gonna read the questions. Just one quick. Do you have time for a quick story on your worst day in fish keeping?
I told it already.
When you open the
And all the pH down went in the water. Yeah, that was an expensive mistake, and I may even be undervaluing the loss of livestock. I literally watched the tank melt. I tried to get as much water out and replace it as I could, but it happened so fast. And it was an absolute stupid move on my part. And you know what? I felt bad because some of those fish, again, I had gotten from breeders at various stages or auctions that weren't available. And yeah, I could have cried that day. That was the worst.
Terry, you spent hours with your late Uncle Bob watching the fish.
That's my sister saying that? Yeah. He was fascinated by them. Yeah, he would come into town and we would sit down in my little fish room that I had, and I would tell him all about what I was doing. He was the type of guy, he was my favorite uncle, who, when he'd ask you how you're doing, he actually truly wanted to know how you were doing. It wasn't just something that you said. And in fact, my son, my oldest child, is named after him. I really did love him a lot.
Just so you know, 31 people in here right now.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
Marine Tank Journey, hello. Okay, here we go. Some more questions here. No, I'm not going to be a sexy pool boy for Halloween. That's my normal job.
That's right.
The shirt comes off and, we get to work.
It's got a washboard stomach. I do too. Mine's just got a whole bunch of laundry on it right now.
Okay. Here we go. Sorry, I'm stammering here. Anubias consensus, best light, and do you grow these?
I have. They
got
don't
a few
need
enemies,
strong light. To be honest, it's one of those plants that is
Pretty
almost bulletproof. If you gave them medium or moderate lighting, they will obviously grow faster and be hardier. But that's one of the plants that you can get away with very low light. That's a fairly good piece of
There's a better
right
one
there.
over there.
I haven't checked that other tank out, but no, it doesn't need strong lighting, and it doesn't necessarily need to have any interaction with nutrients or CO2. But again, any plant you put into those conditions are going to grow much better. In fact, we were talking about some of the plants in here, the val in the back. Ron had used the Easy Green that is again available through Aquarium Co-op.
Mhm.
When he dosed the tank, he noticed that those plants grew much better.
They
over
started
that
doing the
tank.
sprouts all
Yeah,
through the
they
gravel.
throw the runners out. Yeah.
Priscilla MK Art is here. Priscilla had asked when I saw her on another chat earlier tonight how she liked the aquatic experience, because I noticed she was there. She had a live stream that she did from there as well.
Yeah.
And she said it was nice. And I talked to some other people that said it was nice, but then some other people have said maybe it wasn't so great.
Well,
For us, it's a long way to go. We're
Right,
we're
so
at the Pacific Ocean. in
Bob
Vancouver.
lives right underneath us. Washington State is right below where Ron and I live.
Got to go all the way
And
across
so
the continent.
his comments, which were that he could go to 2 shows for the same price as he went to that show, scares me. I would like to go to one of these things at some point. I would hope that sometime in our future, near term, there would be a chance to go, say, to something in Seattle or down the West Coast somewhere. I've been to New Jersey. That's a long flight from here. In fact, you probably can't get there straight away.
I've been to New York.
You're going to stop in
I've
Detroit
been
or
to New
Chicago.
York, and yeah, I had to stop in Toronto and
Yeah.
come back. Otter Creek Aquatics, what's your biggest achievement in the hobby or your favorite moment?
Okay, well,
Leave
favorite moment I would probably say was the discovery of all these Burchardi fry in this 29-gallon high tank that I had. It was a nice problem to have, even though I was moving, and again, anybody who's been in the hobby long enough and has had to reestablish your tanks in a new locale, it's a bit of a cluster, but I just love those fish, the elegance of them, and the cyprichromis that Bob's showing with the almost flashes of neon on them. I'd love to do that with those. That was nothing I did other than I made sure that the water chemistry was good. I used Lake Tanganyika salt, which was expensive, but it was worth it. And I just love those things, and I eventually sold them off because I wanted to try something different. But I've always wanted to go back, and they're hard to find even those, and those are a basic entry-level cichlid.
Yeah.
They're just really difficult to find here, especially if you know what a good quality fish looks like.
Priscilla's just chatting a little about aquatic experience. The event itself was not good, but meeting all the people was amazing. I'm sure that would be cool. Meeting all the people would be cool.
Yeah.
Philip Aquatics and YouTube booth is going to be a great experience regardless of the event. I would assume it would be.
Well, he was at this meet and greet that Corey put on. That was another guy. I really enjoyed meeting him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you went down to Aquarium.
That's right. Yeah.
There's a few other people there. Corvus Ocean was there.
Corvus was there.
Jimmy.
Bob. Jimmy was there. He was doing a lot of filming that night. He hadn't really broken out like he has now as a personality.
He's boomed in the last.
What was the other guy?
That was over around a year ago.
I think it was January or something like that. Bob, if he's still on the channel, might remember. What was the other fellow that you said seems to have fallen off the way?
Fallen off? Well, Bentley was there, or
I didn't know Bentley then. I wouldn't have known him if he was there. There's another guy.
Bearded.
The bearded.
Yeah.
He was there, and I don't know if he's still in the hobby or not, but you don't see much activity from him. Yeah. It was an excellent night, though. Had fun.
Max Fishman would love to go to one, but it would be about $3,000 for him to go. Yeah, for a weekend, that's a lot of money.
Can't do it.
No.
Can't do it. I could never justify that.
Elisa's wide awake at the moment. It's 11 p.m. where she is. But
okay.
Thank you for. So 11 o'clock, Lisa. You're in Canada, so you must be
Toronto,
like Ontario, Quebec.
Yeah. Even northwestern Ontario is still just 2 hours, so it's probably east of Thunder Bay.
If you're in Maritimes, it's 3 hours still, right?
4.
Is it 4? Yeah. A lot of things. If you book a flight earlier in advance and maybe take a hotel, that's a couple miles away. Then it'll be cheaper. It's a give take. We spent $1,500 for 4 days plus flight for 2 people.
Plus the flight.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, our flights would be at least a G-note for 2 flights from here.
Lisa's in Kitchener. K-Town told me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, right on. Terry, do you keep any species of catfish?
Yes, I do. right now, we've only got the albino cats in there.
Corey cats.
Corridors, yeah. I've kept a number over the course of time. I've bred lots of them.
I knew D was in Alberta. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're pretty easy to breed. Again, the tip there is to replicate the rainy season with the Corys that I did breed, and all you do is do a water change and drop the temperature, and they'll breed like crazy. They'll be up and down the glass laying eggs anywhere they can.
Some things are easier than.
Yeah.
Lisa's in Toronto, actually. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like, to get the angels to lay eggs, just give them frozen bloodworms, and then the next day there's.
They
eggs.
load up on live food or meaty type foods. Yeah. When I was a kid, like I said, when I would sell off livestock, I'd get live brine shrimp. I would actually, hatch brine shrimp for the fry. Bloodworms all the time. I would stop on my way home from school. It was on my walk back from school. And I started working when I was 13, so I always had money in my pocket. If I wanted to get it, I could. I didn't really rely on my parents to fund this.
Yeah.
And again,
things weren't that expensive back then.
Well,
because I
it was
13
probably relative.
when I started.
It was probably relative.
Well, you weren't buying big tanks either, right?
Couldn't.
Because they weren't around.
Couldn't.
So
Like I said, the big tank was a 33-gallon tank that my mom got.
Yeah. Mine was a 25-gallon.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this thing's huge.
Yeah.
This is a worldwide audience today. Marine tank journeys in South Africa.
Wow.
Yeah. Actually, a coworker
So
of ours
there's
is in
Thursday,
South Africa right
probably
now.
Thursday afternoon there. Is it? What time is it?
Dr. S is wondering if you need a permit to sell plecos or any other fish in Hawaii. I'm not sure.
No.
There are lots of different rules in Hawaii.
Wasn't it, again, I'm sort of ignorant to plecos, but isn't it that a lot of them now can't be exported? That they've started.
Well, Brazil has put like laws in about capturing the L46, which is the zebra pleco. You can't export that out of Brazil.
Yeah.
But there's a ton of breeders in the States breeding them.
Right. So.
Or they're smuggled out.
Would there be a chance that plecos can assimilate to conditions, say in Hawaii, where they're not indigenous?
Maybe. I mean, plecos are for the most part, are from South America.
Maybe at the auction we talk to Dave and see if he can tell us. Inside joke.
Maybe let us know how it's cheaper.
That's right.
Okay. Scrolling down the chat here. Well, some people are here Thursday morning. Some people are here Thursday afternoon.
Yeah. Isn't that wild, eh?
Yeah. 54 Punchy says, yep, there was no child labor thing back then. I started picking strawberries every summer when I was in first grade. Wow. It's crazy.
Yeah, my sister, she's still on the chat.
Bought my own school
We
clothes every year.
picked strawberries.
That
was not, I wasn't happy about that work.
My mom did that too. Not stress berries. She would take the bus all the way over there, pick them, come back. I think she did it for 2 summers and hated it.
I can't remember what it was. It was maybe like a $1 a flat, and it was like 20 pounds in a flat. It's a lot of berry picking to make little to no money.
Here's a question Marine Tank's wondering from South Africa.
Okay.
What should I do today?
Well, it's about lunchtime. You should eat.
It's 5 in the morning where he is.
Well, you should probably have a shower.
Maybe at breakfast.
Yeah. Brush your teeth too.
Well, we are coming right up to that 1 hour mark, which is where we like to cut things off.
Right on.
If anybody has one last question they would like to throw out, we can throw that in. If not, I would just like to say, Terry, thanks very much for coming on.
Wasn't sure what to expect, although as I say, watched lots of these things. It was
Did you have fun?
Very comfortable. I enjoyed this. Yeah. It's nice to be able to think back to the things that I did in the hobby or that I found enjoyable. One of the things is, and I'm sure a lot of you out there that are parents, this is a great way to show your kids about nature and again, almost little biotopes or ecosystems from around the world that we can recreate in these, I think KG Tropicals calls them glass boxes.
Yeah.
And it's really fascinating, and I've always really enjoyed it. It's rewarding. it can be profitable. Some of you are making a big time living off this. Some of the guys that have 100,000 followers, I don't think you need to work anymore. Although you work hard, providing the content and
there's not a ton of money. Like 100,000, you're probably still working.
what are you making on 100,000 subs?
Well, I mean, it's all about the views, not the subs.
Okay.
But I think if you got around 10, like my buddy's got 10,000 subs.
Yeah.
He's bringing home 200 a month.
Then how, Bob, are you able to quit your job? Are you selling drugs on the side? What are you doing?
But people are doing anything. Ben's coming in to say hi.
Hi.
Good little athlete.
He is. Well, once again, Terry,
Well, thank you.
thanks very much. Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it. And actually, you know what? I've got no video this Friday for the
What?
first time. Nothing prepared.
Nothing in the pocket.
Nothing in the pot. And next Wednesday, there will be no live stream either. Because next Wednesday's Halloween. And we're busy. We're trick-or-treating on Wednesday, right?
Well, you don't mind not going out. You don't need the candy,
You don't need to dress up, right?
Yeah, it's overrated. Good night, everybody.
Okay,
Still
good night,
there.
everyone. Thanks again, everyone, for joining, and thank you, Terry Lindsay.